The Modern Blockbuster and the Psychology of Manipulation, a critique of contemporary cinema. Modern blockbuster cinema, particularly in sequels and franchise reboots, has developed a subtle but pervasive set of manipulative techniques designed to shield audiences from the uncomfortable realization that a highly anticipated film might actually be disappointing. Far from being accidental, these methods exploit well-known psychological phenomena, cognitive dissonance and the sunk cost fallacy, to manufacture a veneer of enjoyment, even when the underlying narrative is structurally weak or incoherent. Star Wars The Force Awakens serves as a prime example of this trend. Cognitive dissonance arises when an individual's expectations clash with reality, creating discomfort that the mind seeks to resolve. Fans of the Star Wars franchise entered The Force Awakens with the immense anticipation shaped by decades of reverence for the series and months of hyped marketing. The movie's eventual narrative shortcomings, predictable plot beats, tonal inconsistencies, and superficial character development collided with these expectations, producing a profound dissonance. Viewers who had long believed in the excellence of the franchise were suddenly confronted with the possibility that a Star Wars film could be disappointing, even flawed. The dissonance is compounded by the sunk cost fallacy. Audiences have already invested time, money, and emotional energy buying tickets, preparing for the cinematic experience, and engaging with the franchise's cultural significance. Admitting that the film fails would force them to confront the reality that these investments were wasted, an uncomfortable prospect that many are psychologically predisposed to avoid. The result is a search for justifications, however tenuous, that allow the viewer to reconcile the movie's failings with their pre-existing beliefs. To facilitate this reconciliation, modern films frequently employ specific manipulative techniques. Constant quips, superficial jokes, and moments of overt social lecturing populate The Force Awakens and similar films. These moments are framed to feel, in parentheses, light or humorous, yet their primary function is not to generate genuine amusement. Instead, they act as psychological anchors for audiences experiencing cognitive dissonance. When a viewer fears that, for example, this movie sucks, these jokes and sassy remarks provide a small, digestible moment to cling to, a signal that, at least superficially, the film is enjoyable. Similarly, overt moral or social messaging functions as reassurance, offering a form of emotional padding by signaling that the movie aligns with socially approved values. The filmmakers provide a secondary lifeline for audiences struggling to accept disappointment. These cues operate much like a laugh track in a sitcom. They are explicit prompts to the audience to feel approval, often irrespective of the joke's actual effectiveness. Taken together, these techniques create the illusion of engagement and enjoyment. Viewers overanalyze these fleeting moments of quips, humor, or virtue signaling, using them to justify continued investment in a film that may otherwise feel hollow. The laughter is rarely spontaneous, it is externally suggested, and the satisfaction derived from it is manufactured. The movie becomes a collection of psychological crutches, designed less for narrative coherence or cinematic artistry and more for reassuring an audience in emotional conflict. Conclusion: modern blockbusters, particularly sequels and reboots of beloved franchises like Star Wars, are increasingly constructed with the audience's psychology in mind, often prioritizing emotional scaffolding over narrative integrity. The Force Awakens exemplifies this phenomenon. The film's plot holes, tonal inconsistencies, and stage play dialogue create dissonance, while quippy jokes and socially instructive moments provide the audience with the superficial lifelines to cling to. The combination of cognitive dissonance and sunk cost fallacy ensures that viewers may leave the theater convinced, or at least willing to assert, that the movie was good enough, even when the structural and artistic evidence suggests otherwise. In this way, modern cinema increasingly trades substance for reassurance, offering audiences not genuine storytelling, but carefully engineered psychological comfort.